I know why would we allow ourselves to, why are we in this condition? Why can't what's in us, the inner being, be brought forth, and the greatness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put upon us? Our ancestors, these are things that our ancestors did, and we are the children, our children's children.
No. Your ancestors, let me correct you, your ancestors were also being visited by beings to try to help them, because in the realm that they were in, they had their degree of devilishment also. You follow? Lot, don't forget, Lot turned against Abraham and went down to Sodom and Gomorrah because he thought it was a better place to be. So he turned against the village of peace and went into the city of New York, to the village, in a figure of speech, and wants to live in the village with those kind of people. It's been going on for a long period of time. And beings have been trying, but see, what is long to y'all is short to us. What 6,000 years is less than a day to us. The whole information of your whole planet could be absorbed in a couple of minutes by any master. All the information of your whole planet. You're developing rapidly, much more rapidly than you're supposed to. Because you'll find the abundance of beings surrounding this earth plane, trying from different galaxies to keep you people from being destroyed by the cherubim. And we're trying to wake you up soon enough to get you back, but it seems almost impossible. So many people have learned to love the cherubim as opposed to the seraphim.
Can you tell me who Yanin is?
Yanin is an extraterrestrial being who incarnates into the body of Imam Isa to pass on information to you. He is one of the eldest, the 19th. He resides in the 8th galaxy of the 19 galaxies. And they do travel by ships, as you would call them for lack of a better word. And they've been intergalactically traveling and coming to this planet since 11,500 years ago. And Yanun is one of the masters that's been assigned to awake you people up, because you people are a portion of ancient births of the Devareans, as you probably don't even know what that means, right? And some of you must be woken up, and so masters would come. The master that you saw was called Rama. If you would have gotten a closer look at him, he comes from 4,000 years before Jesus. If you would have got a closer look at him, you would have saw that he had white hair and red eyes. He's a caramel complexion, fairly thin, and his name is Rama. He visits this planet many times. He lives in Shambhala. I don't care how crazy this sounds to you, or one day you'll find out it's true anyway. That in the center of your planet, there is another world. In the center, there's subterranean pathways to different chambers in the center of your planet. The pyramids are entrances there, and so are the pyramids out in South America and the Nairobi Desert, and out at the Antarctic is the entrance in. And Yanin is one of the masters of the school of the bird. They call him the feathered bird. This is why in South America, when they look over the sky and they see this image of this bird on the ground, that is his school. So certain arriving masters to this plane knew what school they would go to. Each galactical, body had their own school on this planet. Muslims don't realize that throughout the Holy Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about angelic beings coming to earth, you have interned them because of Christianity in the 18th century into little white babies with wings, when you're talking about celestial and terrestrial beings or extraterrestrial beings who have been visiting y'all for a long period of time. Because some of you are the sons and daughters of extraterrestrials who came here, and you have to be brought back to power to defend this planet against the destruction by Azazel and what they refer to as Lucifer, and the other 200 fallen angels, which were, again, extraterrestrial beings who invaded this planet 6,000 or 5,000 some odd years ago and have been ruling, and have caused the masters to either hover or or to go into the subterranean parts of the planet, and they just come up to either ascend to the earth to teach man, or they will make intergalactical communications, leave and come back. And this is what Elijah saw. This is what Jesus said when he said he was caught up in a whirlwind in the clouds and went up. The whirlwind in the cloud is the ship itself. Elijah was taken up in a chariot, and Enoch was translated into heaven by his chariot. It's throughout the scriptures. And 3 men visited Abraham at his tent, and then one went up, and the other 2 went on down into Sodom to try to talk Lot and his family into coming out. You know, these stories that you have interpreted in the scriptures strictly as religious dogma because of the translations by the Christian churches, etc., who had no knowledge of extraterrestrials. They have turned the spiritual community of beings who have existed in other galaxies into gods or into angels, and gave them a bunch of names that didn't apply to them. And so you just happen to mention one who was very powerful, Yanun, his name is. They say Yanin, it's pronounced Yanun, depending on the dialect of what galaxy you're in, the pronunciation changes. And the one you described was another one called Rama. I was asking you about Yanin because Yanin is assigned to give you all answers about the things that you need to know in this time and the time that you've come from, to be able to distinguish the 144,000 who would be those extraterrestrial beings, prepare them to create that whirlwind and make that ascension out of this state, which they call the rapture, rising up from the earth while it goes to its turmoil with the Lamb, as they refer to him, which is merely a symbol of a humble being from an extraterrestrial. That's why the Quran says, we sent you down to earth. See, they keep missing it. It says, when there's a turmoil in the garden in heaven, then we cast you down to earth in the Quran. From where? The angels come down from where? From floating around in the sky. No, they sent you down to Arbuk, which is earth, the blue planet. They sent you here from other galaxies. When you violated the law, intergalactical law, you was cast down here like prisoners. You all are wayward, as you would call it. I don't know a better word for it. That you all are assigned to a prison. Earth is a prison that you all are in. And you are people who rebel, who would listen to Satan, as you call him, which was Azazillah then, or Tanush. You listen to him. You follow? And you've been assigned to earth until you overcome that. Until you turn and give your total reverence to Huwa, Allah, Allazi, La ilaha illa Huwa. But you incorporate in that, even that when you say Huwa, you have to say God, Allah, God, God, Allah. You keep interjecting. You personified him and said he was Master Farad Muhammad, or he was Yahweh ben Yahweh. You always have to do something rather than to just serve the omnipotent source of the Hawa, or way is inside you, the essence of life. So now you've been assigned to this prison, which is called Ardut, the blue rock, earth, until you, which they say, are born again. And born again of what do they say? Of the body or the spirit? Of the spirit. Y'all must be born again of the spirit. You must be transformed from being this mortal being who is destined to die back to immortality. You follow? You must become a supreme being again in order to be worthy of intergalactical traveling again. So now what has happened, the devil's seed is in the earth, mixing in with the God seed, as you'd have it, and it's keeping y'all bound to the planet and creating new dogmas every day, new deviations from the fundamental truth, and calling it religions and sects and all different types of denominations, Sunni, Shia, Ahmadiyya, Bilalian, black Muslims, Hindu, Buddhists, and just creating new dogmas to keep you from seeing the straight, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, as they call it, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight way of those who made the pathway through the galaxies. The Sirat when they say in the Quran, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. They're telling you, I want to be guided اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. I want to be guided to that way. I want to get back out of here. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. You know what I mean? That sirat of those who you have given your grace, Allah Ta'ala. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. I don't want to be like those people who got the everlasting curse, who's damned to this earth forever. ولا الضالين. Or those who deviated off that path that was leading from Malakut to Nasut and went somewhere else. Or as they translated in modern times, have left the path of Deen al-Islam and went into other denominations of thought. And you deviate from the path of Deen al-Islam when you deviate from the path of Millah Ibrahim, when you deviate from the religion that Allah Ta'ala gave to the Prophet Adam, which was the way you should work your way back to Jannah to Idris, back out of this plane and back into Malakut, the domain of angelic beings from which most of you have come. But some people here have made an everlasting pact with Azazillah or Tanush, this being who tried to overthrow Mikael in Malakut prior to the birth of your planet. As a result of that, was cast down. Some mortals have succumbed to him and begin to worship him in a subtle kind of way. One of his names is God. And they have taken it and called Allah God and Jehovah God in Akhirah, etc., etc., etc. You follow? So you just happen to touch on a very sensitive subject. And I am here to try to bring you all back to that teaching. But I got to start with what you understand. I got to start giving you what you think you want, so you'll learn how to think on the level of what I have to give, or what you know you need. But I can't start by pouring out. I've been teaching for 20 years on earth, in and out, visiting in and out of here. Different beings speak to you at different times through me, trying to answer all of your questions to prepare you for the real knowledge, the real information that you have to have after you get through wobbling in how great you are and how you got here and how you're Abraham and you're Keter and you're this. When you finish all that ego tripping, then I can get down to teaching you the truth about things and prepare those who are supposed to leave here, to prepare so when the ship does come, they can go. You follow? And I know that sounds crazy, but he wants to make me sound crazy. That's why he made movies like Star Trek, because he knew this knowledge. The devil, Iblis, he knows these things. And that's why he saturates the television with a bunch of things like fiction, so that when the final truth comes, I say, your whole concept of religion in the Bible is wrong. You don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking about intergalactical beings. You're not talking about angels. You're talking about the ultimate source of all existence. You're not talking about God and Jehovah. Those are just expressions. When you say Allah, you're saying El-Hua, Yahoo, oh, he who is. And you cannot define him while still confined to this prison called the physical body.
It's amazing. This is amazing to me to hear people from this planet asking questions about such intricate things. It is really amazing. You don't even hear yourselves. That's what's so funny. You don't even hear yourself. You hear yourself talk to me, but you don't even understand half the things you're asking. And it's amazing to find that just spiritual people here are beginning to wake up. It is not about a water religion. You know what I mean by a water religion? When they dip you in some water and say you're baptized, or you go to Mecca and then say I'm a Muslim, where it's just a physical aspect of the deen. It's amazing that y'all are now probing into the esoteric part of your existence and trying to get a better understanding of the real you and not the synthetic you that you call your body. It's a wonderful day.
El Hadi, I want to ask a question.
First of all, wait, let me correct some. El Hadi is my father's name.
Imam.
Okay.
What is it meant lately? I've been getting the flash in front of me, the white fog, like I'll be standing or I'll be in a certain place and I'll see a white
mist.
A mist, yeah. How do you know that?
Because I know what it is.
A mist in front of me, and it just comes and it stays there for a second, then it'll go. Then I can move, and I'll go to another place, and my mind just be, I don't be thinking about anything in particular. All of a sudden it flash in front of me, but I can't really, figure out.
You haven't. See, the thing is, you're looking at beings who are here in the Earth's atmosphere, trying to reverse the negative flow of current that's here. Okay? You can't assimilate them because you haven't developed the inner part of you. You're developing, but you have not developed the inner part of you to be able to focus on them and take shape the way you do physical things. Meaning, human beings are under the impression that when they look at something, they really see it, and they don't.
But the other thing was, if you are spiritual beings, then what is your purpose here?
Mine?
Yeah, yours and any other.
Well, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher who come to get my students and prepare y'all for the war. We've had several wars against those people before. And we've won. And every time they went somewhere else and colonized. Now they've colonized here and they've gotten you. I've got to come and separate you from them and turn you back into spiritual people so we can conquer him, which is whom y'all call Satan. And prepare y'all to go back to Malachi. Malachi, what you say? What is that? There's three domains, and then there's lower and above. Nesut, Malakut, and Lahut going up. Nesut is the abode of Humain, which is what y'all are, the ones on earth. Malakut is the abode of Malaik, angelic beings, as you call them. And Lahut is the throne of the omnipotent with the seven veils. You follow? Okay. Solid, liquid, and gas. Okay. You're in solid. The angels are in liquid, and the Almighty is in a form of gas. Okay. All right? Now the liquid can become vaporized into gas or hardened into a solid. Now I'm here to turn the solid back into a liquid, and then back into a gas. You follow? But they're so intermingled with the mortals here, it's hard to find who's who anymore. They're so well trained to act like the devil and live like him and want like him and love like him and lust like him, and it's hard to find the good ones from the bad ones. Now, it's quite a confusing job when you meet people. You think they're spiritual beings, you start teaching them, and they're really physical, nothing but physical, total physical. And it becomes bewildering.
How would I know for myself?
You do know it for yourself. You already know if you're a spiritual being, because you're not content here. When you look up at the sky, you get this fear. When they discuss UFOs, it doesn't frighten you. You want to be picked up by them. It's a difference. Other people say, not me, I'm not going to fly for. Then there's another people that say, why don't I see them? You even look up at night out of your window and say, why can't I see one? When I've taken the congregation from this community, I said, you want me to prove to you that they exist? I took hundreds of them to the mountains and said, now watch, they're going to come from that direction. And I called them and they came. And they hovered above them. They saw with their own eyes. But they can call anybody crazy if they want. As long as I got company in this insanity, I feel good. But they saw with their own eyes the ship, and I told them what to chant, and they chanted, and the ship came close, beamed light, and took off. I said, those people are waiting to take you. That was it. That's my job. And you have got to accept it before he realizes how dangerous I am, and then I'll have to leave.
Is it true that we are able to capture the devil if, by acting righteously and being more positive, we would lure him into a trap?
Yes, that's the only way to defeat the devil, is to trap him. You won't destroy him because he's an angel. You can trap him. And the bait is your righteousness, not your imitation of righteousness or portrayal of righteousness, but sincere righteousness. He is attracted to this city that we're trying to set up of peace. He has no need of the waste in the street because he controls them. They don't realize it, whether they call themselves Muslims or not. And they just don't know he controls them because they don't know who he is. They don't know his approach. Right? What he cannot, what he was never able to do is in the time of the Prophet Nabi Musa, alayhi salam, Moses, had set up an ark of the tabernacle. And that's the thing the devil wanted to get. And that's why they had cherubim, 2 cherubim with folded wings on the ark of the tabernacle. Because the cherubims who, after the fall, became aiders of the seraphim, became protectors against their own host. The flaming sword, as they call it, which you're using your medical symbol. Alright? So yes, the only way is to capture him and bind him. But he's attracted to righteousness. He knows that he has the world. He has everybody that you basically see on a day-to-day basis under his control who have their own opinions without any points. They have their own philosophy, what they think the truth is without any real knowledge. I've come to find out, especially Americans, Caribbeans, people like that, when you talk to them, they got all this philosophy until you ask them, "Ay lughata, tam'anafi." In which language do you get this meaning? The devil's language, English. They interpret from the translation of the Yusuf Ali Quran or the King James Bible, and they'll come in and quote to you as if they found some philosophical truths or some English translation of the Kabbalah or the Kabbalion or something some devil wrote, and here they got this new divine interpretation flowing to them, and they justify by saying it's not what language, it's what's in your heart, etc., etc. The devil loves all that. He loves all those philosophers and those teachers and those scholars, all these imams. He loves these people because these people are just what he wants. This is why we've made, over the years, many predictions that came to pass. Many of them. I mean, unbelievable predictions from a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, and sometimes year-to-year basis that came to pass. And the devil has never made a public spectacle. They're not going to let Imam Isa get in the limelight, because they know that if I sat on the podium, they couldn't bring nobody, be he Jew, Christian, atheist, against me to stand against the truth. Because they've proofread the books. And by reading the pamphlets the same way you do, they're saying, this man here is dangerous. Or to attack them verbally and make him have to go before a council and defend himself, he'll make us look stupid. They know I can get up and make them look stupid, so they can't have that. You follow? So the devil is deeply attracted by our community. The people inside, not the people outside, who tell people they're with us, but they're not with us. They're not inside the gates of the tabernacle, and they're not with us. I don't care how much they say they're Ansari. They don't have the blessings of the silsila of the Prophet or the Mahdi, because they have not picked up the cross and suffered with us. It's like people say, I'm a follower of this Jesus, but they're saying they're a follower of Jesus from another city. I follow Jesus, but they won't travel to the city and sit down and sup with him and break bread because they can't get along with each other. I don't like this brother. I don't like this person. I don't like this. I can't live like this. I can't eat this. And all of these same people say in the back of their mind, if I could only get to the mystical schools and study in the pyramids and learn the esoteric knowledge, and then they're worried about how much butter they have on their bread. Same person in the same breath who's professing to be so mystically inclined and so interested in the esoteric knowledge of Islam can't even suffer living amongst a bunch of brothers and sisters of his own. So it's a bunch of hypocrisy. So the devil's greatest strength and asset is A, that people don't know who he is, and he doesn't have to make an attempt to get black people because they go right to him and give their souls to him by imitating him and emulating him and dressing like him and working for him and living in his way of life. So the devil don't need to tempt you people. You're just giving yourselves right to him. Only time you're going to defeat the devil is when you defeat everything he stands for, turn against everything he's about. And then, like Job, if you read it, he'll turn his attention to you. Because then the Lord can say, like in Job, yeah, the devil said, I'm walking to and fro in the earth in Job 1. And what did the Lord say? Have you considered my servant?
Yes, I had one more part to that question. And that is, if we are able to capture the devil by being more righteous and trying to practice being more positive, then is it going to prolong the time that we have to try to get the mission that we have to do here together?
The moment the devil is captured, don't you realize that the souls and the minds of everybody in the world would change? Because what the devil has going for him is that he's into the souls and the minds of everybody in the world, coercing them into his way. The moment the devil is trapped, like when Solomon trapped the devil, his kingdom flourished. The moment the devil got loose, Solomon's temple was destroyed. You understand? The moment the devil is captured, there is no more mission. That is the ultimate mission.
I know there's 19 other galaxies, and some planets have been destroyed, but how do they...
Wait a minute. There's 19 galaxies in Theta.
What's that?
Theta is where Yanin comes from. There's Zeta, Theta, Alpha, Beta. These are Greek names that were given to the different star formations in other galaxies. There's 19 galaxies within the star formation of where Yanun comes from. And he just happens to come from the 8th planet called Risk of a 3-sun galaxy, which is one of the 19. When you get into Zeta, or what they call Zeta 1, right, that's another star formation, and they have many galaxies there. Okay? It's much more complicated than
much more complicated.
Just that, yeah.
Well, I just wanted to ask you, what do extraterrestrials look like? I mean, you see these on television, you see little green-eyed monsters, but do they actually look like that or really more like us?
I understand what you're saying. Are you with me? Let me explain something to you about that extraterrestrial thing. When an extraterrestrial visits Terra, Terra is one of the names of the planet Earth used by extraterrestrials. The project planet Earth is called Urenda, if you ever get a chance to remember. And Jesus, by the way, is on a starship, and his starship name is Senender. Okay? He's not called Jesus or the Messiah, he's called Senender. But let me go on. If an extraterrestrial ship, as you call them, comes into the Earth and lands, correct? For the first time, and he lands in a jungle, and he encounters a lion, what do you think he'll think? That that's an earthling.
What?
He'll think that the lion is an earthling.
Yeah.
If he goes beneath the earth into the sea, like the Voltex do, when they come here, they go under the sea. What will he think when he sees under the sea? He'll think those are earthlings. See, what's wrong with people on the planet Earth? They tend to think that they're the only earthlings. We are the human beings. We are the rulers of the planet Earth. When in reality, every living creature from insect to ant to bacteria is an earthling. And therefore, different forms of extraterrestrials, depending on the ladder of their intellect and existence, come to Earth. There are bacteria that come to visit bacteria. There are humanoids that come here. The ones that frequent the planet Earth the most, right, Urandians, are what they refer to as the little people. They frequent most here, and that's because back in 1947, one of their ships crashed here because of a storm, and they work off electricity, magnets. And when they came back to recover the bodies of the wreck, they encountered certain American officials, Truman in particular, who all they asked for was the bodies and the remainings of the wreckage to take back, and they made them make a bargain with them to give them certain diseases and certain formulas like energy equals mass times the speed of light, and your formula of splitting atoms with atomic bomb, which they told the extraterrestrials they were going to use for something good, but in turn used for something evil. And they didn't return all of the bodies, and they didn't return all of the wreckage, so the extraterrestrials, through what they call telepathy, put Truman out of his misery, and Eisenhower picked it up. Eisenhower came into office, and he became the one who was a negotiator for a certain project whose name I won't mention. And he became a communicator between the extraterrestrials then. You follow that?
Yeah,
and he also betrayed them. They gave y'all the cure for cerebral palsy. They gave y'all the cure for polio. They gave y'all the vaccine for cholera and for malaria. And they would have given you the cure for cancer and all the other diseases, but they betrayed these beings and killed them, the ones who visited. And so then other beings came from other galaxies, because it's an interplanetary thing, of other galaxies who came here from other forms of life, for lack of a better word, to assist the little people who are really just scientists. There's different formations of stars. Some beings come here as scientists. They're more apt to take you up on a ship and examine you, to find out how your organs work, find out how your brain works, because mortals on Earth are only using a fraction of their brain. Certain planets where the people have evoluted for millions and millions of years, they use their whole brain. And human beings, for some reason, had stopped. As you were evoluting in the beginning of your time, thousands of years ago, you were becoming smarter and beginning to use more of your brain And that was giving you more psychic powers. But wicked extraterrestrials have taught human beings how to use computers, which made their brains stop developing. And if you don't develop your brain, you're going to cut off your psychic power, and y'all won't have telepathy and all of the powers necessary for communicating with extraterrestrials. So now you're doing everything on computers, and you stop developing the brain. So the extraterrestrials are concerned, but you're so fascinated with the computers and how fast it gets things done that they can't convince you that thousands of years are being lost because human beings are not calculating with their hands and not developing their mind and not studying things from an esoteric standpoint of view, but they're looking at everything from a monetary and physical standpoint of view. So they foresee that planet Earth is about to destroy itself because man has gotten more sophisticated with his technology than he has in his spiritual powers. So they sent the Quran, they sent the Torah, they sent the Injil. They, through telepathy, have communicated with certain mortals like Muhammad and Zoroaster and Buddha and Musa and Isa. Well, Isa is a different creature because he was caught between two worlds, and communicated with them and tried to send down this information so that they can teach you and get you developed spiritually for when the mothership comes, which you read in Revelation 21 as the crystal city that Jesus said would come out of heaven with the 24 elders, which Ezekiel saw. But you're not ready for it. You're caught up in the physical things and the luxuries of the world, and you're being persuaded by the cherubim to lean towards the darker side of things instead of by the seraphim to lean towards the lighter side. So to answer your question, many different types of beings are coming to this planet. The most important visitation was around 1947, after you bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because you almost, through atoms, split your planet. And if you would have split your planet, you would have interfered with things that are being done in the center of the planet in a place called Wahala and Shambhala. So the extraterrestrials started sending people from the vortex that went into the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle, which opens up 19 times a year. You understand that? It opens the way to a fourth generation. And they come in the vortex of beings from the same galaxy as the little people, but they live underwater as opposed to on land. And they come here when they're living under the sea here in the Atlantic Ocean and different places, and they have empires there. And everybody is working to keep you from destroying the planet, so y'all can develop. The only thing that cannot be done is they cannot interfere with the natural course of your planet, because it'll be thrown into a star holocaust, meaning the magnetic field of the planet will be reduced, which y'all are doing anyway by removing the ozone layer. And we're trying to figure out any way we possibly can to re-knit the ozone layer, because if the ozone layer is removed and ultraviolet rays come in, you'll have 10 years before your planet will be destroyed. So extraterrestrials are doing everything in their power to keep you from destroying yourself, and the cherubims are here in the form of human beings, and y'all just don't see them, they're white people, and they're doing everything in their power to destroy you. Let me give you a little cue. If the man says driving 55 miles an hour, and he makes a car that does 260. Don't smoke cigarettes, and they got cigarette commercials. Alcohol will kill you, and they got alcohol commercials. Drugs will kill you, and they import drugs in the country. You can't even smuggle a piece of jewelry in from South America, but they can't stop hundreds of pounds of drugs. There's obviously an inward conspiracy for human beings to destroy themselves out of their ignorance. And extraterrestrials are not allowed to intervene. They can only suggest, or through telepathy, or influence certain human beings to make them react certain ways, or just incarnate and teach, like in my case. I was assigned here to teach you, to try to raise your consciousness so that when the ship comes, you'll be ready. But I'm having such a hard time because you don't believe nothing I say because I'm not white. You believe the cherubims and everything they teach. If the white man came on the day and said, I made all of this up, you always believe it. With all the facts that I taught and every scripture and every verification, you still say, I knew there was something wrong with him all the time. It's that easy. The same way Malcolm X was easily influenced by the cherubim to turn against Elijah Muhammad. It's that easy. And that's holding y'all back. You have got to get back into using your calculus abilities. You've got to get back into using your psychic powers. You people have psychic powers. How many times have you thought about calling somebody and you picked up the phone and they were there? How many times have you thought about seeing a friend that you haven't seen and turned the corner and they were standing there? How many times have you walked up on a person and said, I know this person, I don't know from where? These are people you know in your spiritual life. Some of you people know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all think I'm nuts. Some of you people have had extraterrestrial communication. Some of you people have had extraterrestrial dreams and visions. Some of you people know that you don't belong on this plane, and other people don't know it. Some of y'all are mortals, and some of y'all are supreme beings. And the ones in there that are supreme beings inside, they know what I'm saying is true. They don't know how to get back because they've fallen so far, but they know there's something not normal about the way they feel and the way things happen to them and the way life is set up around them, and they know that people are out to hurt them and situations always work against them. When they try to tell people, people say, oh, you're just paranoid. When you go to get a job and they pick the other person standing next to you, and you say, dang, these people just don't like me. And then you go home and say, that's just paranoia. There's no paranoia. The devil knows who you are, and he sees it in your eyes even where you can't see it, and he's out to stop you. He will block everything you want to do. He'll make your life totally miserable. When there's 5 people to get picked in the college, you'll have the highest credentials, and you won't be the one to pick. You understand? When the bus gets ready, when you're coming down the street, the bus is pulled off, everybody else catches the bus gets away from you. You understand what I'm trying to say? You get down there, someone says, boy, the train just left. I'm sorry, that was our last pair of green shoes. And then you don't realize that this has been happening to you your whole life. Then you sit back and say, why does everything always happen to me? That's because you are a visitor. You understand? You're a seed of the elders, and you're lost here, and you better wake up soon. Because when the devil opens up the door against you, he's not going to show no mercy.